this project doesn't come only with celebration, it comes with a lot of internalized fears coming from a very tragic history, both personal and collective. My name is Petrit Halilaj. I was born in Kosovo. I live and work between Berlin, Kosovo, and Italy.
Thank you so much for being here today in the 81st Street Studio. This is a place where children run free in the museum and have all this, a real paradise for kids. Can you tell us about the first ideas that came to mind when you were first invited to do this commission?
So the title of this commission is Abetare, which is the ABC book I Learned the Alphabet in Kosovo. In 2012, I went in Runik, the village I grew up, which from the war in Kosovo, 99% was lost and destroyed. The school where I went survived the war, and I saw that they started to turn down the building. One of the last things that connected to my childhood memories. And I started to film. We saw that desks were piled to be thrown away. They were probably from the 70s. That had layers of graffitis and engravings of so many generations that have seen the Yugoslavian time and then the war and the post-war. But also Eminem or Messi or Michael Jackson, and like these are from a very small town. How can this incorporate so global symbols all layered in the same desk? And I thought that was magical. I thought, like, what are the drawings in Albania? What are the drawings in Serbia? What are the drawings in Croatia or Slovenia? And what are the things that differentiate us but also unite us? This is good, but it's difficult to... So some schools had desks in the attics or in the storages, almost in archaeology, like digging into doors and places that still remain and conserve history and time.
I love it. Look at this. How many drawings did you collect so far? Did you count them?
Thousands and thousands by now, drawings. Drawing is a language that I connected with as a kid. But all the 90s were full of very, very dark memories. The war in Kosovo started in '97. Everything became so hard to understand for me as a kid. Like, I couldn't understand how I'm losing one thing after another. And they were replaced slowly with fear and a lot of traumas that only later we will understand. We ended up in a refugee camp in Albania. One of famous pictures that I discovered later depicts me as a 13-year-old kid that I had to wait in line for a very long time to get something to eat. Really incredible, crazy war context, which unfortunately we see daily again with the new wars. And I cannot stop thinking on that and keeping trace of that. Like saving those desks, giving a space to those kids, connected something that from the history, it's so many times disconnected. When I have something that I like to make scanning of this and then project in a very big spaces. There's a moment that you understand the drawing become a sculpture. I remember with the spider, I kind of felt that it should have a relation with the skyline. When I saw this scratch, this was in a school in Macedonia, I thought about Louis Bourgeois, because now, since many years, another way of feeling home was to see an art reference. So this is gonna be almost 7 meters high. What is happening now We are on the process of banding a standing flower. Just also metaphorically for me becomes like how much you can push the limits of a straight line. This is a Dua Lipa song. I don't give a fuck. Of course, Dua Lipa is an icon and what she does in Kosovo for LGBTQI rights. It really touched me when I saw it. When I was in a refugee camp, a psychologist, Giacomo Poli, gifted us white papers, A4, and simple pens, felt tip pens. And that's what actually saved my life, I think. From very early in my life, I realized that I'm homosexual, and to fit in the society, probably I was kind of repressed. This personal struggle as homosexual, as a Kosovo Albanian, it's so aligned with the struggle of Kosovo as a state to be recognized. I think through drawing, I found kind of this river of expression and of being. And as a kid, the way how I saw a solution was to draw these dreamy landscapes with birds flying free. They bring to me this idea of really freedom and a way to dream for a better future, which I'm a big believer.
Can you tell us how do you put them together? And in that regard, what's the humor hidden?
They are drawings that I felt was important to bring here, like the birds or the sign runic, but also local histories like the communist symbol to the Yugoslav initials or NATO symbol, which in 1999, it's related to the bombardments against Serbia that happened, and was crazy for me to just see the symbol of NATO drawn by some kids in Kosovo. That's, for example, a name from desks in Serbia, which is, I was more scared than what I thought. The idea of coming back and seeing the police or people in the border, or I just like that my work is more courageous than me. But it's true. It's also important to accept our own fears and limits. I love with the work to let it happen, things that maybe we are not even able to do in real life, no? I love taking very serious issues and put them in a conversation with pop culture references or abstract lines that have no meaning, and how this actually complete each other. Because this is the history that made us. And it was challenging for me to say, like, can I tell stories in this scale? That main structure was alone, and then I added the clouds from another country, the star from another place. Almost like the sculpture, I don't know, brings something that I so much trust, this idea that we are not enough alone. It was such a responsibility, but also a joy to incorporate all these voices. You bring kind of a symphony of fragments. I have lost myself 2 homes burned by the police in the beginning of the war, from my father and then from my grandfather and my grandmother. And I so much related to the home we present here. It's a transparent, very essential home, a house that invites you to put your own self in your room, to see through borders, see through barriers. But then you have this spider. You don't know if it's coming to invade or to find a place, but also it's the creature that builds nets. All these journeys from Runic to all these other places was a bit the desire to build new nets and kind of overcome this with new stories. At the end, maybe what I'm looking for is going back to the Abetare as accepting, incorporating, learning new letters to say something. It's very precious to me.